Let's quickly and comprehensively break down school vouchers. Who it's good for, who it's bad for, completely bipartisan, facts only with a discussion at the end. There's also an extremely important section on educational lobbying I don't see anyone else reporting on. This will go in order: who it's good for, who it's bad for, a facts-based discussion, and then an opinion on the end. You don't have to watch that if you only want the facts. If you already know the facts and you just want the opinion and discussion, you can go to the timestamps on the screen. This is about school vouchers as a whole, but I'm in Texas, so I read that official bill and I'm using those specific numbers, though most states are pretty much the same. Texas did include one specific gotcha that I'll include at the end. I don't believe in fear-mongering, so I'm going to start with who this is good for. This is good for you if you homeschool your children. You will get $2,000 per child. It's important to note this is not cash. You'll get $2,000 to spend at an online marketplace they set up for you where you can get textbooks and supplies. I don't have enough access to know if the purchasing power on the marketplace will be equivalent to buying it elsewhere. Private schools who participate in the program, they get more money, either through more students or being able to raise rates. This is good for you if you currently have children in private school and your private school decides to participate in the program. Participation in the program is up to both the school and the parents, and if the school doesn't participate, then you will continue to pay full price. Not all schools will choose to participate for various reasons. If you want to send your child to public school and need it to be less expensive, but can still pay a part of the tuition and your child meets admittance criteria, you will receive a credit for a little more than $10,000. Where I am, the private school's around $20,000, so you'd still have to pay the $10,000 difference. The private schools are still allowed to limit or reject applications according to their own policies. The voucher does not guarantee admittance, it only gives a credit for a portion of the cost, and private institutions can admit or deny whoever they want. If you have a special needs child and there's a special needs private institution nearby, then you can get up to $30,000 a year for that school. It's important to note that this is only good for you if there's a school nearby that meets the requirement. Private schools are not required to accept special needs or to accommodate disabilities the way that public schools are. If there are trade schools, alternative schools, or religious schools you want to send your children to that are nearby and accredited, the vouchers only go to accredited schools that have been open for 2 years or longer. Who this is bad for? Everybody else. First, this will increase state spending by a substantial amount because what this is at its heart is a subsidy. Roughly 85% of students in any given state are in public school. Now the 15% will also receive tax dollars for their education. Since education is most states' second highest expense, this will be substantial. The amount that the child receives is less than what they are paid for public school, so if enough children abandon the public school, this offsets the cost, but a substantial number of students would have to leave for that to happen. This will be discussed more later. Second, this can result in defunding public schools, especially for those who cannot afford the difference, which leads to increased segregation. Discussion. Many people think that this will make private school free. It does not. It only discounts it. Many people think that admittance to the private school is guaranteed. It is not. Most only have limited availability, and some have specific admittance requirements. Schools will increase their rates. A business that charges you $20,000 know that you will pay $20,000. So if you get $10,000 for free, they're likely going to charge more. States where vouchers have been implemented, the rates have gone up around 22%, but it varies over time. Some schools charge tuition specifically to keep a demographic of students, so they generally raise their rates more than others to change the admittance criteria. Private schools are not required to accommodate special needs or disabilities in any way like public schools are. Private schools are not required to follow the same educational requirements. They do not have to have students pass a national test. They do have to have students pass a national test, but they get to choose the test, and it's often less rigorous, but this depends on the school. This is significantly worse for rural students than for urban ones. Urban students will have more private school options, while rural schools will be more affected by losing students. No substantial net gain or loss in education has been seen in places where this has been implemented. They typically see an immediate gain with a long-term loss, but up to this point it's nothing significant. Many Florida parents initially took advantage of the program, and then they went back to public school when they learned that the private accommodations aren't the same, but this varies among schools. A note on trade schools. I think it is important to learn a trade. I have a computer science degree and I'm a programmer. But if that trade starts to disappear, you're going to regret not having a traditional education to fall back on. And with changing technology, nothing is safe anymore. Those were the facts. Now let's get into the crux of this and why it matters. This is subsidizing the wealthy. Plain and simple, that is what this is. Most parents who cannot afford $20,000 a year tuition can also not afford $10,000 or $15,000 after they raise their rates. But that isn't even the worst part. In Texas, they slipped in this. Section 29.370, gifts, grants, and donations. The comptroller may solicit and accept gifts, grants, and donations from any public or private source for any expenses related to the administration of the program, including the establishment of the program and contracting for the report required under Section 29.371, which is reporting on the quality. This is special language to allow for privatized lobbying. Outside players are allowed to donate money both to influence how the program works as well as the reporting on the overall quality so that the tests aren't independent or unbiased. What this means is that a company like Amazon can come along and donate a specific amount to alter the RFP terms to potentially be the only vendor for the marketplace. Or McDonald's can donate money so the schools state that their food is healthy. Or a large church can come along and say, I'll give you X amount, but now you only fund schools that teach this course or don't teach this course. Or you could even have one person come in and say, I will donate this much if you no longer support Catholic schools. This is a long-term bait and switch in an attempt to defund public schools and make religious schools the only viable option, which causes a problem with separation of church and state because this does fund religious education. This causes an ecumenical problem because not all Christian religions follow the same doctrines or principles. The more students who switch, the worse the public schools become, leading to more students switching. This also privatizes education. The cost is set to $1 billion for the first year in Texas, but this will increase over time, leading to higher costs for everyone. Even if a rural school doesn't lose students to private schools, as more money is directed to the program, public schools may receive less money per student. The best scenario is using our tax dollars to subsidize the rich, and other than higher taxes, everything pretty much stays the same. At worst, it completely guts the public school system. My personal opinion. My core concern here is that this is going to take something that does admittedly need improvement, and it's going to break it by privatizing it. It's going to turn it into the insurance industry where costs just keep skyrocketing on everyone for both houses and medical care. We are taking a public system that is already in effect and already works, we're deregulating it and opening it up to political lobbying, intervention, and corruption. The short-term effects of this won't change much, but the long-term will be an incremental break that will be cataclysmic and start to make our education system look like our healthcare system. Ineffective unless you're rich, expensive for the individual, and a massive tax burden. There is some hope, but not necessarily in the public school system. There are tons of online learning resources, many of them free. Khan Academy, YouTube tutorials, Project Gutenberg, Brilliant, Coursera, Udemy, edX. For the first time in human history, we have nearly limitless access to educational resources. As long as a child has a functional device and internet access, their access to education is only limited by their time and desire. That desire, though, is optional. The larger problem is a paraphrase from Socrates. Democracy is only as strong as the education that surrounds it. I'm Alexander Carpenter. I'm in Texas and I'm running for Senate because we have to get big business and corruption out of politics. We can only do that if the small unknown people run. I'll be honest with you, this probably won't go anywhere because I don't have those donors, which will require people contributing however they can. All you have to do to help is subscribe, like, or comment. That allows this to be shown to more people and spread the message. It also helps me know my work is appreciated so I can make more content for you.